Listen up, guys. If she's coming across like she doesn't really need you, like she's keeping everything super casual, playing it cool whenever you're around, you're probably convinced she's just not that interested. You figure she's got plenty of options, and you're nothing special in her eyes. But what if I told you the exact opposite is actually true? What if the reason she's guarding her ego so intensely isn't because you don't matter to her, but because you matter way too much? And here's the wild part. There's one specific behavior that almost every guy interprets as her keeping you at arm's length, when in reality, it's the strongest sign that she's completely obsessed with you. I'm going to reveal exactly what that behavior is in just a moment. But first, you have to understand why her ego and her heart are locked in an all-out battle. Because when a woman truly deeply craves you, she doesn't always wear it on her sleeve. Sometimes she buries it under layers of pride. And if you don't get this dynamic, you'll end up walking away from a woman who's secretly praying you'll stick around. Today, I'm breaking down the precise signs that show her ego is simply acting as a shield for how badly she actually wants you. I'll also tell you the one thing you absolutely cannot do when she's in this guarded state. Because if you make this single mistake, you'll hand her ego all the ammo it needs to lock you out for good. This isn't speculation. This is deep insight into the conflict between female desire and self-protection that most men never truly understand. Stay with me, because around the 4-minute mark, I'm going to expose the psychological reason why the women who crave you the hardest often appear the most indifferent. And it's not at all what you think. So, let's get into what most guys get completely wrong. The real reason her ego refuses to let her show how much she wants you. And why this might actually put you in the strongest position possible. Why her ego hides her true desire, the psychology that changes everything. Imagine this scene. She visibly brightens when you enter the room, but the second your eyes meet hers, her ego hides her true desire. The psychology of reaction formation and self-protection expression snaps to neutral. You send her a flirty text and she replies with something short, casual, almost dismissive. You suggest hanging out, and she hits you with maybe let me check my schedule even though you both know she's wide open. You're left confused, thinking she's only lukewarm about you at best. But here's what's actually happening, and it's going to sound totally counterintuitive. The moment a woman realizes she genuinely craves you, her ego instantly shifts into full defense mode. Why? Because in today's dating world, wanting someone intensely feels like surrendering all the power. Her ego will fight tooth and nail to prevent that. She's been the one who wanted more in the past and ended up getting hurt. She's been the girl who showed too much interest too soon, only to watch the guy lose respect. She's opened up vulnerably before, and it blew up in her face. Now with you, those past scars are screaming at her to stay protected. But here's the game-changing part. There's a specific psychological defense mechanism called reaction formation. When it kicks in, her outward behavior becomes the polar opposite of what she's truly feeling. Stick with me. This explains her entire confusing performance. As her desire for you intensifies, her ego registers it as a threat to her self-image. The image of being independent, unfazed, completely in control. So what does her mind do? It overcompensates by swinging hard in the opposite direction. She acts overly cool, overly casual, overly unaffected. This isn't deliberate mind games. It's her psychological immune system, automatically activating to shield her from the vulnerability of wanting you this much. And here's what most men never grasp. She's not choosing to play hard to get. Her ego is doing it for her on autopilot. The deeper she craves you, the fiercer her ego fights to conceal it. So if you want to know whether she's truly into you, stop focusing on her surface-level actions. Look underneath them. There's one particular sign that's the number one sign. She's obsessed. Subtle mirroring. How she unconsciously adopts your world while downplaying it so subtle, buried under layers of pride, that once I point it out, you'll start noticing it everywhere. I'll get to it in the next section. But first, have you ever caught her remembering tiny details you mentioned in passing, yet acting like she barely paid attention? If that sounds familiar, keep watching, because that contradiction is revealing everything. The one sign that proves her ego is concealing her obsession. Before I go any deeper, smash that like button, because what I'm about to share flies in the face of every cliche piece of dating advice you've ever heard. Here it is. The biggest sign her ego is masking how intensely she craves you. It might sound odd at first. She constantly downplays your influence on her, but she subtly mirrors virtually everything about you. I'm not talking obvious stuff like repeating your slang. I'm talking the deeper layers. Your energy, your random opinions, your sudden interest in a band or show she never cared about before. Why is this so significant? When a woman is only mildly interested, she stays firmly in her own world. She doesn't bother absorbing yours because she hasn't decided if she wants to join it. But when she's deeply, obsessively craving you, she starts unconsciously aligning herself with your reality. She'll casually mention she finally tried that restaurant you raved about, but frame it like it was totally her idea. She'll echo your take on some random topic, yet present it as if she's always believed that she's quietly weaving you into her identity while refusing to admit you've had any real impact. Her ego simply won't allow her to acknowledge that one man could hold that kind of sway over her. Psychologists call this covert identification, and it only emerges when someone has truly gotten under her skin.
Most guys miss it completely. They see the lack of gushing compliments and assume indifference. Meanwhile, she's literally reshaping pieces of her life around you while pretending you're just another dude. Now, it gets even more telling. And this is where we separate mild attraction from full-blown obsession. There are 4 additional signs that her ego is working overtime to bury her feelings. The 4th one is so precise and undeniable that if you spot it, you'll know without question she's obsessed. I'm walking you through all 4 right now. Pay extremely close attention to number 4, because if she's doing it, you must handle things with absolute precision. One wrong move, the 4 hidden signs. Her ego is masking obsession, competition, perfect memory, inside jokes, and quiet stalking, and her ego will erect a permanent wall. The 4 signs her ego is hiding her obsession. Number 4 changes everything. Sign 1. She competes for your attention but pretends she doesn't care about the outcome. She clocks every other woman in your vicinity. She'll subtly try to outshine them, become wittier, more engaging, strategically place herself in your eye line, but the moment you call it out or tease her, she shuts it down. Why would I care? Do whatever you want. Classic tell. Her actions scream competition. Her words claim total indifference. That disconnect is pure ego defense. She can't risk looking like she needs your validation. Test it. Give another woman your undivided focus for a bit. Watch her suddenly become more animated, more present. Then, the instant you shift back to her, she'll dial it down just enough to restore the power balance. Her ego can't let you see how desperately she wants your attention. Sign 2, she remembers absolutely everything, but acts like she barely does. You drop a random detail, a childhood story, a work stressor, a goal you're chasing. Weeks later, she brings it up offhand. Wait, didn't you mention something about that? Or how did that situation turn out? She plays it like it just popped into her head, but she recalls it perfectly. Understand this. That's not ordinary memory. That's obsessive attention disguised as casual recollection. People who don't care deeply forget the details. People who crave you catalog them because every piece of you feels vital. Her ego won't let her admit she's been thinking about you enough to retain all this. So, she frames it as coincidence. Sign 3. She creates private jokes and inside references, then downplays their importance. She'll casually drop a call back only the 2 of you would get. A shared moment, a silly phrase. It builds intimacy. But if you lean into it or smile too big, she brushes it off. It's not that deep. Or I say that to everyone. Pure ego protection. She's crafting connection, testing whether you feel it too. The second it risks feeling too real, too exposed, pride forces her to retreat. What most guys miss, she only does this if she's mentally replaying your interactions on loop. She's constructing a secret shared world with you, but her ego refuses to admit that world matters. Sign 4, the big one. She quietly stalks your digital life but never engages publicly. This one is insane and far more common than you'd think. No likes, no comments. Maybe she doesn't even follow you on every platform, yet she knows things she has no business knowing. An old story you posted, a comment you left somewhere, a check in at a random spot. When you ask how she knew, she deflects. It just showed up in my feed, or someone mentioned it. Truth. She's checking on you constantly, obsessively, but her ego will not allow a visible digital trail because engagement equals visible interest, and visible interest equals lost power. So, she lurks in the shadows, consuming your life while preserving total deniability. How to confirm? Post something tailored to her specific tastes or referencing an inside topic without tagging or mentioning her. If she references it later, even indirectly, you've got undeniable proof. She's watching far more than she'll ever admit. If you've seen this pattern, recognize what it really means. Her ego is losing the war against how intensely she craves you. She's already obsessed. She's just terrified of showing it. The one deadly mistake that hands her ego permanent victory. Most men blow it right here. So, listen closely. When you finally see through the act, your gut reaction is to confront it. Tease her, call her out, I know you like me, or stop playing games. Do not do that. The instant you directly challenge her ego, you force her to pick between pride and desire. And in that moment, pride almost always wins. She'll double down, go colder, convince herself you're cocky, and that she doesn't want you that badly after all. Instead, let her ego believe it's winning while you gradually dismantle its defenses. Don't chase harder, don't demand vulnerability, don't push for confessions, give her the safety to lower her guard at her own pace. How? The one deadly mistake to avoid. Why confronting her pushes her away forever. Stay confident without being needy. Show clear interest without desperation. Create sparks of real connection. Then ease off before her defenses flare up. And use the ultimate weapon most guys ignore, strategic indifference. Mirror her coolness when she's distant. Reward small openings with warmth, then return to calm neutrality. You're not playing games. You're speaking the only language her ego respects. You're proving you're unfazed by her walls, yet not desperate to tear them down. This sends a powerful subconscious message. You're safe. You won't punish her guardedness. You won't exploit her if she finally reveals her craving, the final piece, the ego's timeline, and what happens when you get it right. Most men don't realize that a guarded woman's ego doesn't surrender overnight. It erodes gradually. She needs weeks, not days, of consistent evidence that you stay steady. You don't turn bitter when she's distant. You don't get arrogant when she's warm. You remain secure through both versions of her. This isn't blind patience. It's proving through unshakable consistency that you're not the threat her ego fears. When you nail this, something beautiful happens. Her ego finally tires how to win. Let her ego surrender naturally, build trust, and watch her desire emerge openly of the exhausting charade. After enough tests you've passed, the walls don't just crack, they crumble. The cool facade vanishes, the distance disappears. Suddenly, she's the one texting first, planning dates, making her desire crystal clear. But you must let it unfold naturally. You can't force or rush it. You have to respect that her ego is protecting something priceless, her ability to crave you without losing herself. When she finally trusts, you won't exploit that vulnerability. Her hidden desire stops being something she conceals and becomes something she openly celebrates. The bottom line on ego versus desire. I get how frustrating it feels when you want someone badly and sense they want you too, yet they're hiding behind this act. You just want honesty for them to drop the armor and meet you halfway. But sometimes the most powerful desire arrives wrapped in the thickest armor. She's not hiding behind ego because she doesn't crave you. She's hiding because she craves you so deeply, it terrifies her. If you can see past the surface, if you respond with strength instead of frustration, you conclusion, see past the armor for real connection, become the rare man her ego can finally relax around. That's not manipulation. That's not games. That's profound understanding. That genuine connection sometimes has to battle through pride before it can fully bloom. If this resonated, drop thank you in the comments so I know you're committed to reading between the lines and hit subscribe. I'm constantly unpacking the hidden psychology of attraction that changes.